Beef and pork are traditionally dense, nourishing foods that provide complete protein, iron, zinc, vitamin B12, and other micronutrients essential for muscle maintenance, oxygen transport, and neurological function. In their fresh or minimally processed forms, these meats have supported human diets for thousands of years. The problem emerges not from the animals themselves, but from the way beef and pork are transformed into ultra-processed meats through curing, grinding, chemical preservation, and aggressive flavor engineering. Once this transformation occurs, the nutritional profile, metabolic effects, and long-term health implications change dramatically. Ultra-processed beef and pork products such as hot dogs, bacon, salami, luncheon meats, spam, and pepperoni are defined less by meat and more by what is done to it. The original muscle structure is destroyed through fine grinding or mechanical separation, removing the natural fibers that slow digestion and promote satiety. This paste-like meat base is then combined with large amounts of salt, preservatives, curing agents, and sometimes sugars and starches to stabilize texture and extend shelf life. The result is a product engineered to be uniform, durable, and intensely flavorful rather than physiologically supportive. One of the most serious concerns with these products is the use of nitrates and nitrites in curing. These compounds preserve color, prevent bacterial growth, and create the characteristic flavor of processed meats. However, during cooking or digestion, nitrites can form atrosamines, compounds strongly associated with increased cancer risk, particularly colorectal cancer. This risk is not theoretical. Epidemiological evidence consistently links high intake of processed meats to higher rates of cancer and overall mortality. This association is strong enough that processed meats are classified separately from fresh red meat in public health research. Salt content is another defining and damaging feature of ultra-processed beef and pork. These products often contain sodium levels far exceeding what would be naturally present in meat. Regular consumption contributes to chronic sodium overload, increasing the risk of hypertension, cardiovascular disease, and kidney strain. Because processed meats are often eaten daily, at breakfast, in sandwiches, on pizza, or as snacks, the cumulative sodium exposure can be substantial even when portions seem modest. Preservatives and additives further separate processed meats from their whole food origins. Phosphates are frequently added to improve moisture retention and texture, but excessive phosphate intake has been linked to vascular calcification and impaired kidney function, particularly in vulnerable populations. Flavor enhancers and smoke flavorings compensate for meat quality loss and can mask spoilage, encouraging consumption of products that would otherwise be unappealing. These additives do not simply preserve meat, they fundamentally change how it is perceived, eaten, and metabolized. Another critical issue is fat quality and distribution. Processed beef and pork products often contain higher proportions of saturated fat and oxidized fats due to repeated heating, curing, and long storage. In products like bacon and pepperoni, fat is deliberately emphasized to enhance flavor and mouthfeel. When combined with salt and preservatives, this creates a potent combination that promotes inflammation, endothelial dysfunction, and adverse lipid profiles when consumed frequently. Ultra-processed meats also distort eating behavior. Their soft texture, intense seasoning, and ready-to-eat format reduce chewing time and bypass natural satiety signals. This makes it easy to consume large amounts quickly, often alongside refined carbohydrates such as white bread, pizza crusts, or crackers. Over time, this pattern reinforces overconsumption and displaces more nutrient-dense, fiber-rich foods from the diet. There is also a psychological and cultural dimension that amplifies risk. Processed meats are deeply embedded in convenience culture and social eating, marketed as practical, affordable, and familiar. Because they are derived from animal protein, they often inherit a protein health halo, leading people to underestimate their risks. This is especially problematic when processed meats replace fresh meat, fish, legumes, or other whole protein sources on a regular basis. From a broader health perspective, Ultra-processed beef and pork represent a shift from nourishment to preservation and stimulation. The food is no longer designed to feed the body efficiently, but to last indefinitely, taste intense, and fit seamlessly into industrial distribution systems. This shift explains why these products consistently appear in dietary patterns associated with inflammation, metabolic disease, cardiovascular events, and cancer. The strongest warning is that processed beef and pork should not be viewed as minor variations of fresh meat. Once curing agents, nitrates, high salt levels, and preservatives dominate the product, it becomes something fundamentally different in both structure and biological impact. While occasional consumption may not be catastrophic, regular reliance on hot dogs, bacon, salami, and similar meats transforms a once nutritious food category into a chronic health risk. Understanding this distinction is essential to prevent ultra-processed meats from quietly undermining long-term health under the guise of protein and tradition.